All right, I'm going to blame Fred for the audio hookup. I'm blaming Fred. So what we've got going on this morning, we have Ken Paxton, John Cornyn, the Rhino Republican, is getting ratioed this morning. Now we have Russia warning American citizens to get out before they make a major strike on Kiev this morning or today. Also, we have Marco Rubio sending a massive message to Iran last night, early this morning. The Strait of Hormuz is going to be open one way or another, and that's what they've got to deal with. I want to jump right over to Marco Rubio, what he's saying here. Let me know what's going on.
They're going to be open one way or the other. So they need to be open. What's happening there is unlawful, it's illegal, it's unsustainable for the world, it's unacceptable. I don't know of any country in the world that does it. The Russians are not in favor of the tolling system. The Chinese are not in favor of the tolling system. I mean, there's no country in the world that's in favor of the tolling system except the regime in Iran. So that's not acceptable. That cannot happen. The straits need to be open, unimpeded, without tolls, and obviously that needs to happen immediately as soon as anything's agreed to. Well, look, I think our position is well stated. The president had a very important, I think, historic call just a couple days ago with a number of leaders from the region. I think there's strong alignment and agreement on what a preliminary draft should look like. I think that, like anything with something like this, it's going to take a couple days to settle on, even down to the disagreements over a word, sentence. So we'll have to work through that. If there's going to be a deal, we're going to have to work through that. But this is, it's either going to be a good deal or there isn't going to be one.
So right now we're at a point in the Middle East where they either make a deal or we continue to launch airstrikes. Yesterday afternoon, late yesterday, the Iranian Guard, the IRGC, had some of their little speedboats out putting more mines into the Strait of Hormuz, actually undercutting, torpedoing any level of a method to get this deal done. Now, there's a lot of also information coming out about the uranium. That seems to be a big holdup, and open source intel is reporting high-ranking sources are saying that Iran is willing to send its highly enriched uranium stockpile to China, but not turn it over to the United States. Now, one of these reasons has been, or could be, is that we will not be able to analyze uranium if the Chinese take it. And why would we allow Iran to give uranium to the Chinese to make more weapons to be used against us? I don't think that that's going to be on the table. I don't think the president is going to go for that. But this is one of the major hangups. And I think Iran just continues to be their own problem. The other thing that happened last night on the heels of all of this is the Ayatollah Khomeini. And I don't know if this guy is actually still alive or not, but the Ayatollah Khomeini comes out and makes a statement. Obviously, it was written down because we've not seen him in front of a camera in about 88 days. Death to America will remain a permanent slogan of the Islamic Republic. Are you starting to understand what's going on? Because I am. And I'll show you something else that should make you very upset. This is Wayne County, Indiana. This is Miss Wayne County, Indiana. And I want you to look at what she happens to be wearing. Now, the band sucks. I will give you that. But this is Miss Wayne County, Indiana, holding an American flag, wearing a hijab, while we have the Ayatollah chanting death to America. Oh my goodness. Is that infuriating? Because it makes my blood boil. This is DEI Miss Wayne County. And you know exactly the truth is that that's the reason that she probably got picked to be Miss Wayne County. We'll get back to what's going on in the real world here. Smells like lizards. Yeah, I could be. I think you could be correct there. Marco Rubio went on to say a few more things on the airplane on his, I believe he's on his way back to the United States now.
Well, the straits have to be open. They're going to be open one way or the other. So they need to be open. What's happening there is unlawful. It's illegal. It's unsustainable for the world. It's unacceptable. I don't know of any country in the world that has the Russians are not in favor of a tolling system. The Chinese are not in favor of a tolling system.
I am very, I have a lot more faith in Marco Rubio whenever he says it has to be open one way or another. That tells me that all options are still on the table and they're not going to let Iran continue to bully that entire region. So that's what's going on in the region right now. The Marco Rubio clip, it's low because he was on an airplane, or he's in the plane. They've got all the fans going. So that's what it was said. The other thing that's going on today, and I don't know how many of you are in Maine, how many of you are watching what's happening there, but this is a vile and what I would say disgusting display. This is Graham Plattner in his underwear, stripped down, dancing in a bar with his Nazi tattoo on full display. Look at this. See his little Nazi tattoo right here on the chest? And this is who the Democrat Party has hooked their wagon to. You see this? This is the guy. That is the guy that they want to represent them. And this is him gushing over Bernie.
So the last time, well, before last night, I shared a stage with Senator Sanders. It was here in Portland, 13 days after we had launched this campaign. It felt surreal then, and to tell you the truth, it still feels as surreal today.
It feels fake to me as well, Graham. Very fake. And some of the statements that you have made about some other military members, including Purple Heart recipient that has now passed, as well as Chris Kyle. He made some statements about Chris Kyle.
I didn't know who these guys were. I left that deployment and continued on with my life, did a few more deployments, both in the Marine Corps and the Army. It wasn't until somebody told me to read Chris Kyle's book. His stories about how many people he was shooting certainly tracked with the behavior I witnessed and people I knew witnessed down at the Gov Center, which is it's relatively easy to get high numbers like that if you're a little less discriminating. You're fire than, say, a more professional unit would be. So
he's making accusations that Chris Kyle took innocent lives. Well, I'm not so sure Graham Plattner is really that good of a person, but somebody said he's not hiding his true self. He hates America, so believe him. I think you have to actually believe what these people tell you when they say stuff like this, because it's exactly what they're saying.
I was wondering if you regret the post about the Purple Heart veteran, if you think you need to apologize to him, what you would say to voters who might be upset by it?
I did 4 tours of the infantry. Any attempt to say that I disrespect veterans is slanderous and offensive.
Do you think you owe him an apology?
Do you know how many of my friends had Purple Hearts? Do you know how many of my friends got wounded?
I'm sure a lot.
Yeah, a lot of them. Thank you.
Thank you. I was wondering if
So he doesn't make a statement apologizing. He just blame shifts. And that's the way the Democrat Party seems to be working. That seems to be the way that this Graham Plattner has carried himself, dancing in a bar with a Nazi tattoo and now being celebrated by the same people that call the president of the United States a fascist. It seems to be a double standard. And I've said it numerous times. If there wasn't a double standard, I don't believe the Democrat Party would have any standards. The other opportunity that America has right now is in Texas. Texas has a great, I believe Graham Plattner will win that race up in Maine. Bernie Sanders was on stage gushing over this guy. They were basically just patting each other on the back. I hate to say it. I believe he will probably carry that congressional seat. And that's another problem for another day. We just got rid of one rhino in Kentucky, Thomas Massey. He is now filed to run again in 2028. And if you're asking yourself why he filed 2 years early, it's so that he can set up a PAC. He can set up a political action committee and start fundraising for 2 years. This is a way that most of these politicians operate. They always have some kind of political charade going on so they can garner and gather money. He may very well not even run in 2028. He could, but the opportunity is there for him to get all of this campaign financing. And that's one of the rhinos that we got rid of. We have another great opportunity if the people of Texas seize the opportunity and they seize the chance to get rid of a guy by the name of John Cornyn. President Trump just came out and posted this morning on True Social. The polling numbers right now are 56% for Paxton, 35% for Cornyn. That's as of this morning. The polls are open in that area of Texas, and I hope all of you go and vote right now.
It is so good to be here. I guess I'm a little late. I was waiting on a little announcement. Did y'all see that? Well, first of all, Carissa, thank you for being here. She's so amazing. You are so blessed to have such a great state representative. And I'll tell you what, I'm so honored to have President Trump's endorsement. His endorsement, in my opinion, is the most significant endorsement in my lifetime. So when he endorses, it has a tremendous impact. We're already doing really well, but certainly I have so much respect for the president and so appreciate his endorsement. And I think it creates a slight bit of momentum, don't you?
I think one of the best things that Ken Paxton did was he showed how selfless that he was whenever he said he would step down from the race if Cornyn and Thune and all the other Rhino Republicans would pass the Save America Act. He said, look, the Save America Act is bigger than me, bigger than my campaign. Pass it and I'm done. Cornyn didn't do anything. Thune did nothing. And Paxton said, okay, fine. I'm going to push this through. I'm going to carry on. I'm going to do what I believe is right. I'm going to do what the president wants and try to get this Senate seat so that they can pass the SAVE Act. The Rhino Republicans, the Republicans in the Senate have wasted time. I've got a poll in the chat. I'd love to know if you think Paxton wins that seat today. You can vote. You can type in the chat, P for Paxton, C for Cornyn. I don't know of any John Cornyn supporters. I've yet to meet one. I've got a lot of friends from Texas, and all of them are backing Ken Paxton. I have not seen one Cornyn voter yet, or that will actually admit it. I know a lot of people won't admit that they voted for Obama, but some of you in the chat did that as well. That's okay. You learned your lesson. Hopefully you got rid of your white guilt, which some of you have admitted to, and that is a fact.
John Cornyn and Trump endorsed State Attorney General Ken Paxton battle for the seat, but Paxton tells us he's not worried about receiving President Trump's endorsement after receiving it.
With the endorsement, it becomes a lot clearer that I'm going to be the nominee, and we wanted to focus on the positive and then focus on our next job, which is to take down this Democrat who has the most radical views that maybe I've ever seen. I think we can all agree we got to beat this guy, and we got to protect the Republican Senate.
Paxton going on to push back on his opponent's claim that he won't be able to win the primary, saying John Cornyn.
So the winner of this race takes on this, I don't know what you want to call James Tallarico. That's the Democrat, basically, candidate in that area. I think Paxton has a better chance. I think the Democrats like Cornyn better because he's basically one of them. There's no difference between Cornyn, a Rhino Republican, and a Democrat right now. You cannot, you can't differentiate on those two. There's another story coming out that happened yesterday, over the weekend. U.S. Army veteran Carrie Sharon dies after a brutal assault. 69-year-old U.S. Army veteran, suffered severe head trauma on May the 20th. So we're going back 6 days when his neighbor, 32 years old, allegedly punched and kicked him while he worked on his truck. His wife, Maria, noted prior harassment over their pro-Trump displays. The guy that did this is now held without bail. This is an image of Carrie Sharon, the Army veteran that has sadly passed away. It's a disgusting story, and it's just another pointed attack. If you are a Make America Great Again, if you are a patriot, and you see him here, look at all the American flags in the backyard, look at these patches here supporting all of the branches of service, and it's a damn sad situation to lose a veteran like this. He lived in Southern California. It's got to be dangerous to live in Southern California as a conservative. And that was a post from James Woods, the patriot there. Rest in peace, Carrie Sharon, fellow veteran. And I wish people like Graham Plattner would come out and disavow some of this nonsense, some of this garbage, some of these lies, some of this crap that is going on right now. Because if they don't, the rhetoric, the violence, it's only going to get worse. You know it, and I know it. As we get closer to the midterms, it's going to get much, much more dangerous for voters. And they're always talking about how the president could very well potentially deploy ICE to the voting booths to deter illegal voting. But look at what is happening right now with Democrats, liberals, actually attacking a guy working on his truck because they disagreed with each other politically. It's, I don't know how we got here. I don't know how we got to this point, but you're probably going to see this just ramp up and move on. It's going to intensify. Is what's going to happen. I've got another clip here talking about what's going on in Texas. This is coming out right now. Let's play this real quick.
For U.S. Senate. In March, voters narrowed the pool of candidates down to 2 for this runoff primary election, Senator John Cornyn and State Attorney General Ken Paxton. In the first go-around on March 3rd, U.S. Senator John Cornyn secured the largest number of votes. A win today would help him get one step closer to a 5th term. The winner will face Democratic State Rep.
5 terms he's had as a senator. 5 terms. Senate seats are 6 years. You do the math. For those from Alabama, I'll do it for you. 30 years. 30. But yet the president's the problem? Right.
James Telrico in the general election, and both Republican candidates argue that their opponent would only help out the Democrats.
Were he to be the nominee and be exposed to general election voters, especially independents, I think it's going to be a very rocky time. There will be an incredible tsunami of Democratic funds coming in against Paxton were he the nominee.
This argument is made by John Cornyn because...
So Cornyn's argument to vote for him is that if he doesn't, Democrats are going to make more donations to Telrico? Is that really the argument? Vote for me so Democrats don't support their candidate?
He's having trouble in his own primary. There's no data that suggests that he's right. As a matter of fact, most of the polling suggests I'll do as well or better than John Cornyn. Secondly, I've already won 3 statewide races in a row, some of them by large margins. So that's ridiculous.
I think the Democrats are scared of this guy because Paxton has been a bit of a bulldog as a attorney general. I think he's done very well there. I think the one thing that has held him back is actually the governor of Texas. You know my opinion on him. I think he could have done more to secure the border, and he chose not to. That's up to you to decide, but that's my opinion. I'd love to get yours. Come on, Ben, I'm from Alabama. Some of us have common sense. Come on. That's just a joke. Roll Tide. You must be an Auburn fan if you can't figure that out. The other thing that I'd like to talk about this morning is where we're headed next. What's going on next with the with the Iran conflict, with the Strait of Hormuz, TDS is dangerous. I saw that comment there. TDS is very dangerous. It's also dangerous to live next to anyone that has TDS. You've got to be on the lookout. So we've got other stuff going on. I've got to pay the bills here. One of my sponsors on the channel is Birch Gold. That's been a long time sponsor here. And if you look, gold is up about $10 an ounce right now. Silver is up about 60, almost 70 cents an ounce. And I have been using Birch Gold for a while. All you need to do if you want to get in and get some information about signing up for a gold-backed IRA is text my last name to the number down at the bottom of the screen, 989898. See if you qualify for their first-time gold buyer rebate. They're going to save you a lot of money. Gold is up. Gold is climbing. It's the one commodity that hasn't really been able to be stifled by the deep state. Can't really be stifled by the Democrat Party right now, but I'm sure they're going to find a way to tax it, or they would love to be able to tax some of your gold and silver and other precious metal holdings. But right now they can't. And if I were you, I would be buying it and hoarding it. That's what I'm doing. So that's my sponsor for today's show. Text 989898 to Birch Gold. You just text my last name to them. So with that being said, I'm going to grab a few phone calls this morning. I want to see what everybody's thinking about what's going on with either we can talk about the Ken Paxton, John Cornyn race. We can talk about the goings on overnight in Iran, the airstrikes on their mosquito boats. Apparently there were some airstrikes in Isfahan, in Natanz, at Larak Island, some of their other missile facilities, which is a huge move by the United States. And it's basically just tamping them down, putting them back into place, because the Iranians, the Ayatollah, the IRGC, the Iranian people seem to operate in three different avenues. There's three specific agendas there. The foreign minister of Iran said that they were turning back on internet access for that country. Internet access was supposed to be restored. It wasn't. And we don't really know what's happening within the interior of Iran, but it seems like that there is a small move, and maybe this is going to grow into a bigger move, of a civil war there. The Iranian people are actually fighting for their own livelihood right now. One other thing I wanted to talk about real quick, and this is huge. If there are any American citizens in Kiev, in Ukraine, the Russian foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, called Marco Rubio and told him that they plan large-scale strikes on Kiev and warned American citizens to get out now. Lavrov warned all embassies in Kiev to evacuate their personnel. They can't be responsible. Well, I guess they are responsible. But there is about to be a massive strike on Kiev. The Ukrainian-led Zelensky coalition has continued to bomb, and up to it including bombing St. Petersburg, bombing the Russian capital. And it seems like right now that the Russians are going to respond, and they're going to respond in spades. The lines are open, 615-475-7864. We'll take some calls before I have to go to work, go to my full-time job. And I'd love to get your opinion on what is happening right now. We're trying to do these morning shows to do a rundown on everything that happened overnight. And there is a lot going on right now. And you know as well as I do that the mainstream media, somebody says, if you're in Kiev, what's the hell's wrong with you? Well, you could be working over there. Hunter Biden could be over there selling more paintings right now. I'm being very facetious, but that could be happening. I'm sure there's probably State Department personnel. There's probably people working there at the embassy in various civilian factions. You're also going to have a contingent of the United States military there at the embassy. You have a Marine Corps security force that is there. I don't know if they're going to get evacuated. I bet Lindsey Graham's there. I would say Valerie Jarrett is probably not far behind. I wouldn't be surprised if a bunch of Democrat senators, the same ones that were raising the Ukrainian flag on the congressional floor, I wouldn't be surprised if they are not there. There's news coming out right now. Iran is demanding a release of $24 billion in assets. They're demanding that those be released immediately, or that they are going to keep being Iran. The IRGC is going to keep being the IRGC. Look at this. Let me show you this. The IRGC requires 24 billion asset release immediately. I don't believe the president of the United States is going to buy off onto any of these idle threats. That's up to you to decide. Let's go here real quick. I want to see this. This is this morning's news.
Ayatollah Khamenei issuing a statement saying U.S. military bases in the Middle East are no longer safe. This comes hours after the U.S. conducted strikes on the Islamic Republic, with U.S. Central Command giving an update. Spokesman Timothy Hawkins saying, quote, U.S. forces conducted self-defense strikes in southern Iran today to protect.
So what do you think of this idle threat by the Khomeini? Well, it's probably not idle. They are probably going to target some of these neighboring bases in and around Kuwait, Bahrain. I think now we've got some status of forces agreements with the UAE, with Qatar, and they're saying that they're not safe.
Southern Iran today to protect our troops from threats posed by Iranian forces. Targets included missile launch sites and Iranian boats attempting to emplace mines. U.S. Central Command continues to defend our forces while using restraint during the ongoing ceasefire.
Meantime, the commander-in-chief writing on Truth Social, quote, the enriched uranium, nuclear dust, will either be immediately turned over to the United States to be brought home and destroyed, or preferably in conjunction and coordination with.
There's a lot of stories swirling around the uranium dust, the enriched uranium, being much more important than I believe that we thought of at the beginning, because of the prior uranium deal that the president at the time, Barack Hussein Obama, I always like to use his full name, Barack Hussein Obama, and Hillary Rodham Clinton, basically sold 20% of our uranium supply to Russia. They sold it to Russia. Now, I believe where this could tie everything together, if the uranium that we get back from Iran could be measured, tested, I believe it's called the isotopes. If they could pull those isotopes and pinpoint the fingerprint to that uranium back to Russia, what does that do for that deal? What does it do to Obama? What does it do to Hillary Clinton? What does it do to the Russian government? Because it shows that Russia is basically enabling the number one state sponsor of terrorism, which is Ukraine, which is Iran. I almost said Ukraine because they seem like it as well. But if that is the case, what does that do to Obama's legacy, which he's very worried about, even though he just built a library that looks like a garbage can in Chicago? What does it do to Hillary Clinton with any potential future political intentions that she has? I don't believe Hillary Clinton's going to go away until the house falls on her, just like the other witch in the Wizard of Oz. But could this really put the pressure on Obama, Hillary, and the Russians? And would this lead to further investigations surrounding the Russia hoax, the Russia collusion, that we all know that was the big story that the Democrat Party, that the Clintons, that the Obama campaign ran with? They used that story. They weaponized that. I think that is where this goes.
The Islamic Republic of Iran, destroyed in place or at another acceptable location, with the Atomic Energy Commission or its equivalent being witness to this process and event. Former NSC Chief of Staff under President Trump, Alex Gray, joins us.
I think that's what happens is we get to that point if and when we get this uranium back.
Now, Alex, do these latest strikes put the ceasefire in jeopardy?
I'm going to ask you that question. I don't care what this guy thinks. Do you think that these airstrikes put any deal in jeopardy? I think the real story is not the airstrikes on the boats, but more of what the boats were doing. These Iranian little speedboats were laying mines. If they were laying mines, like CENTCOM says, then they had no intention of a peace deal. It seems like what they're doing is just buying time and biding their time. And they're seizing this opportunity. That's what I think. Somebody says, no, it's defensive actions. It's a defensive action against the boat, but I think it's a preventative measure to stop the boat from putting mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Two things can be correct at once. Number one, the IRGC is trying to stop the flow of traffic. Number two, we're going to stop them from putting anything in the water and preventing the flow of traffic. Those two things can be true at the same time. Whether you want to agree with it or not, that's what's happening. A lot of people are saying they're wasting our time. I can't argue with that. I believe they are wasting our time. Let's see here. Overwatch for Green Berets, ISIS fighters. The Apache return. What is this? War monitor clips. Where did this occur at? Let's see here. When was this footage taken? Hold on just a second. I can't confirm this. There's not enough there to know exactly what's going on. U.S. strikes missile sites in southern Iran. We know that, or we do now. Look at this. The airstrikes have continued this morning. U.S. strikes missile sites in southern Iran. So it went from boats in the water, defensive, to now we're taking out some missile sites. That's going to pave the way for more aircraft to go in and around southern Iran and target some of these other assets. If this is going on right now, the peace deal could very well be off the table at the moment. That's what I believe. Good morning to everybody watching over on Facebook, Kick, Rumble, X, all of those different platforms. We've got a lot of stuff going on various platforms, various programs. I want to say thank you very much for watching this morning. And with that being said, I'm headed to work.
Chief of the watch on the 1MC, pass the word. Dive, dive, sound 2 blasts of dive alarm, pass the word, dive, dive. Dive, dive. Dive, dive.
Here we go again. Here we go again. Same old song again. Same old song again. Marching down the avenue. Marching down the avenue. We don't know where we'll be through. We don't know where we'll be through. A long, long time ago. Long, long time ago. Heard it on the radio. Heard it on the radio. Sounds so good to me. Sounds so good to me. U.S. Navy submarine. U.S. Navy submarine. Recruiter just inside here. Recruiter just inside here. Turns out I gave them 5 years. Turns out I gave them 5 years. Had to get out of boot camp. Had to get out of boot camp. They won't like the smoking lamp. They won't like the smoking lamp. Now I'm a submariner. Now I'm a submariner. Rolling in the deep, sir. Rolling in the deep, sir. Top secret mission, hush, hush. Secret mission, hush, hush. No one's gonna find us. No one's gonna find us. 6 months below the ocean. 6 months below the ocean. I can't remember the sun. I can't remember the sun. Can't write my wife no letters. Can't write my wife no letters. And Tony's gonna get her. Tony's gonna get her. But I won't trade this life away. I won't trade this life away. Makes it worth the Navy pay. Makes it worth the Navy pay. If I can't be a bobblehead. I can't be a bobblehead. Might as well just be dead. Might as well just be dead. A long, long time ago. Long, long time ago. I heard it on I've been to Coral Sea. Fighting for liberty. Fighting for liberty. Fighting for freedom. Fighting for freedom. Hey, sailor. Hey, sailor. Where have you been? Where have you been? I've been to Korea. I've been to Korea. Fighting for liberty. Fighting for liberty. Fighting for freedom. Fighting for freedom. Hey, sailor. Hey, sailor. Where have you been? Where have you been? I've been to Vietnam. I've been to Vietnam. Fighting for liberty. Fighting for liberty. Fighting for freedom. Fighting for freedom. Hey, sailor. Hey, sailor. Where have you been? Where have you been? I've been to Desert Storm. I've been to Desert Storm. Fighting for liberty. Fighting for liberty. Fighting for freedom. Fighting for freedom. Hey, sailor. Hey, sailor. Where have you been? Where have you been? I've been to Afghanistan. I've been to Afghanistan. Fighting for liberty. Fighting for liberty. Fighting for freedom. Fighting for freedom. Hey, sailor. Hey, sailor. Where have you been? Where have you been? I've been to Iraq and back. I've been to Iraq and back. Fighting for liberty. Fighting for liberty. Fighting for freedom. Fighting for freedom. Hey, sailor. Hey, sailor. Where will you be? Where will you be? I'll be where I have to be. I'll be where I have to be. Fighting for liberty. Fighting for liberty. Fighting for freedom. Fighting for freedom. Live free, live free. Live free, live free, live free, live free.
Okay, guys, gals, girls, it's Ben Dykes Show. Smash a like and subscribe on your way out the door. See you in the next one. Ben Dykes Show is out.
We could do boom shakalaka. We love the boom shakalaka. You know, nobody booms and shakalakas as much as I do. I do it better than anybody. I invented it, believe it or not. A lot of people don't realize it.
Rock on, salute, God bless you. Bubbleheads forever.